Playoffs, player, turn up, player. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's going down.
Playoffs.
I'm yelling timber. You better move. You better dance. Let's make a night. You won't remember. I'll be the one. You won't forget.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall. The bigger the heart, the harder they ball. Crossover pull up, keep the J off. All of you slam dunk playoffs. So I suggest you get your game up, player. If you're ready for the playoffs, say yeah. We about to clown. Why? Cause it's about to go down. Team by team and round by round. End of the night is going down. You already know. Game when you shot. End of the night is going down. Playoffs. Playoffs. It's going down.
Not since the days of Rick Barry have the Golden State Warriors tasted the sweet thrills of championship champagne. As for the city of Cleveland and the LeBron James led Cavaliers, they're going to have to wait yet another year to eradicate their championship drought. With that said, what conclusions can we draw from this year's NBA Finals? Ronald Agers, a contributing writer for ESPN's TrueHoop Network, has you covered. So Ronald, welcome back to the Two Man Advantage podcast. It's good to see you again today.
Good to see you too, man.
So, can you talk to me about your biggest takeaway from the NBA Finals and just what you thought of the entire series as a whole?
Basically, what I saw from the NBA Finals is, one, the dynamics of the NBA is about to change forever. I think the rim protector, the big guy in the middle, is pretty much going to be a dying breed. They're going to pretty much have small ball for the next 4 or 5 years. It happened also a little bit with San Antonio beating the Miami Heat the year before when they brought Boris Diaw in. Now with the Golden State Warriors taking out Andrew Bogut and brought in Andrew Iguodala, speeding the game up a little bit, that pretty much kind of changed the game, changed the series around. So basically, in short, small ball is here to stay.
Can you tell me about LeBron James's 2015 Finals performance, essentially willing Cleveland to the doorstep of their first major championship since 1964, the days of Jim Brown's Cleveland Browns? What does this loss on the biggest of stages do for his legacy?
A little bit. I saw two things. Number one, what he did on the surface. I think a lot of sports outlets probably consider him almost heroic. I kind of saw it in a different light. Am I taking it away from numbers-wise, the 35 points a game? They basically, like you said, willing his team to two games short of the NBA Finals. Yeah, for what I saw, I was a little bit disappointed. We got to understand that he shot less than 40% for the entire series. Plus, he missed 118 shots. In other words, he didn't make shots. I got a feeling I didn't like the way he played per se. He was not efficient. And when I mean efficient, he didn't make his players better. There were a couple of times J.R. Smith was in and out of the flow of the offense. If you're gonna let him be the point guard, let him initiate the offense. That falls on him. I didn't like the adjustments that he made when Matthew Dellavedova became part of the scouting report. When Golden State started paying attention to him, we never saw him again. This falls on LeBron James. I'm not particularly happy with the fact that I think he got what he wanted, the spotlight on him. When the spotlight was on him, it looked like he got tired. He got worn down, so to speak. Some of it had something to do with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving getting hurt. However, I did not like the way he handled himself at times during the finals.
And can you talk to me about what the loss in the NBA Finals will do for his legacy as a whole?
I don't think it's going to do. I really don't think it's going to do anything to his legacy. I don't think he. I think he feels that he is better on the quote unquote Mount Rushmore of players. You think he's better than he really is. It was just another finals that he lost. He's now 2-4. I don't like the fact that the way he left Miami. I did not like that. I didn't like the reasons he went back to Cleveland. I feel he went back to Cleveland pretty much as a power move as opposed to quote unquote bringing a championship to Cleveland. So legacy-wise is another loss. Legacy-wise, I think he'll just be another good player in this era. When he said he was the best player in the world after Game 5 and he lost, and then he lost in Game 4, he quote unquote claims he got tired. But if they win that game, they lost 2 games in Cleveland. They win Game 4 in Cleveland, they pretty much are the champions, and they lost on their home floor in the NBA Finals. So if he's the best player in the world, like he quote unquote said in that press conference, it shows a lot about the integrity of him as opposed to him being as a ball player.
Steve Kerr and David Bland were first-time NBA head coaches who made it to the NBA Finals. The first time that's happened since the mid-90s when Pat Riley took the New York Knicks. What does that say about today's NBA for Kerr and Blatt to make it to the finals at the same time?
The dynamics was based on this. I think that the Golden State Warriors bought into what Steve Kerr said. Think about what Andre Iguodala went through this season. He went to Andre Iguodala, who has been a starter his entire career in Philly and in Denver, and said, hey, we need to bring you off the bench, which was a smart move because Harrison Barnes, whose psyche is so fragile that he wouldn't have been useful in the finals because he'd have lost all his confidence if he didn't start. Iguodala did not like that. He made it clear that he didn't like it, but you know something, he bought into the system and said, hey, you know something, I'll do it for the team. Now he's the MVP of the finals. Let's take and on top of that, Draymond Green, who said at the beginning of training camp during the parade, Steve Kerr couldn't stand it. And he couldn't stand Steve Kerr. But they came together and came to an understanding, and it was for the team. Now, they obviously won the NBA Finals. Let's look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. You heard all year long LeBron James was quote unquote trying to get David Blatt fired. You hearing rumors that the team did not respect him as a coach. They were, especially when they were struggling at 19 and 20, and you could hear those rumors come up again during the finals. I think the dynamics was that the Cleveland Cavaliers do not have full trust in David Blatt, and it showed during the finals. And Steve Kerr has full support of his players in Golden State. There you go. That's why the Warriors are the champ and the Cavs are not.
Obviously, the Cavaliers played with a shortened deck in the finals with both Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving on the shelf. If those two players were healthy, do you believe that the outcome of the finals would have been different?
Well, I think when Kyrie Irving went down in Game 1, you knew it was over. I think it was over. There was no way that they had enough talent to beat the Warriors. Cavaliers were not going to beat them at that time. But I think if you looked at Game 1, you can honestly have an understanding of how great a player that Kyrie Irving is. I said this a lot of times. With me and my father talk about the NBA all the time. That Kyrie Irving had to be the number one guy, and let LeBron James be that 1A guy, be the strong support guy. But Kyrie Irving had to be able to be the leader on the offensive side for them to win the title. When Kyrie Irving went down, LeBron James had to take so much much more on his plate, initiating the offense, being able to score and do all these things, and this wore him down. Because you got to understand something. Obviously, with his kneecap being destroyed during game one, he still scored 23 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks. And he had a busted knee. So that ought to tell you how great this guy is. And with Kevin Love, I think it's hard to say because Tristan Thompson played much more of a significant role in the finals. If Kevin Love plays, we don't know how well Tristan Thompson would play. So with Kevin Love, it's hard to say, but with Kyrie Irving being going down in game one, it was basically over then.
Assess for me, if you will, the performance of the Cavs' secondary players, including Tristan Thompson, Matthew Dellavedova, and Timothy Mozgov, and how the Cavs can use it as a building block moving forward.
Well, with Tristan Thompson, I mean, I think you saw his abilities during Chicago Bulls series in the playoffs. He is a rebounding machine. He works hard. He defends well, and they're going to turn it into a five-year deal. But he plays so hard, and he's improving from year to year. The upside for him is amazing. Matthew Dellavedova, listen, he had one good night. Steph Curry was off one night, and now he might turn it. He might flip that into a 2-year deal or something like that. He's kind of like the J.J. Barea of a couple of years ago with the Dallas Mavericks. I didn't think he was that good. He just got lucky. It could have been you. It could have been me up there for one night. Steph was off one night. He just happened to play well that night. As for Timothy Mozgov, he's done an outstanding job. In other words, he turned himself from a verb, from being an adjective of being dunked on, to being one of the let's say top 15 big men in the league right now. I think David Blatt made a huge mistake letting him sit down for that 9 minutes in Game 5. Big mistake, especially when he played so well during in Game 4 when he had 28 points. I think Tristan Thompson and Mozgov, those are the guys they should build on. Dellavedova, well, it is what it is with him. If they sign him for 1 year for a Skid Row deal, $1 million, okay, fine. If not, I mean, he's not as good as a player that people made him out to be, in my opinion.
Golden State obviously was the best team from start to finish, posting a record of 67 and 15. Can you provide some perspective for me on the impact of that noteworthy accomplishment?
Well, with the Warriors again, 67 and 15, wonderful season. I think a lot of groundwork was done by Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson deserves a ton of credit. Now, I understand Steve Kerr did a great job. He's a good coach. I'm not knocking that. And he was under some great coaches. Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich, as a player. However, Mark Jackson set the foundation for what the Warriors have done this year. We gotta give him a ton of credit with that. With that being said, I did not pick the Warriors to win. I thought San Antonio would win again. I think that the Warriors were lucky with some of the matchups that they got. One, San Antonio losing the final game of the season when they dropped from the 2nd seed to the 6th seed was huge. The LA Clippers, when they had that colossal
collapsing.
That was constrained. I mean, they choked. If you want to know what a choke is,
that was a choke.
That was a choke. They needed a Heimlich. They probably still need the Heimlich over that one. That was bad. I don't think they could have beat the San Antonio Spurs. I really don't think they'd have beat the Clippers. However, they had a couple of matchups, and then throw in the Memphis Grizzlies with Mike Conley Jr. breaking his orbital bone, and him losing weight and everything, and he losing some of his conditioning hurt as well. So I believe they did get a little lucky with some of the matches they got leading up to the finals. Not taking anything away from them. Again, I do feel that a perimeter team tends to struggle. It's just that Steph Curry went absolutely insane in the playoff. During that playoff run, nobody really could stop him. and he didn't really play very well during the finals. He played okay, but he didn't play at the MVP level. It's just that the matchups that they had throughout the season pretty much led them to this title, and they played well as well.
In your opinion, what tweaks do the Cavaliers need to make in order to return back to the mountaintop and compete once again for basketball's ultimate prize?
Well, first things first, they're going to have to sign the top free agents first. LeBron James, word around the campfire is that he'll probably re-sign with the Cavaliers. I think he will. I mean, what NBA player do you know runs an entire franchise? Another one is they're going to have to sign Kevin Love as well. They're going to have to re-sign him as well. They say that he's going to re-sign, so we'll roll with that. My feeling is, I don't know, LA's in the mix as well. I would think him going to LA makes a lot of sense. But it's going to be key to see if Kevin Love can be the third guy on the squad. And Kyrie Irving's going to have to get healthy. Those three are going to have to, the big three are going to have to come back again. They're going to have to figure out what they do with Tristan Thompson, because if they sign him to a big deal, you have to sign Kevin Love as well. So they're going to have to figure out a way that way as well. They're going to have to find I think a real strong veteran to come off the bench. Their bench is atrocious. I mean, AARP can run that bench. Mike Miller is 434. Sean Marion is 653. These guys are very, very old, so they're going to have to upgrade their bench a lot, including their backup to Mozgov. Because Brendan Haywood, when's the last time you seen him play?
When he played for Dallas.
Exactly. That's the last time he was relevant. But a lot of people don't realize that he actually plays with the Cleveland Cavaliers as 12th man. And the only reason he's there is he got a $10 million contract which is tradable. So they're going to have to do something with that bench, because LeBron is going to be 1 year older. Kyrie Irving, we don't know how good his knees are right now, and Kevin Love's coming off a severe shoulder injury. So they're going to have to come up with they're going to have to fill out that roster with some good players that can actually score coming off the bench, because Gerald Smith is already opted out, and I don't think he'll be back.